Everybody I'm going. An Irishman can become Dutch. And quite frankly, I think that it's in their best interest for these groups, all of these countries in Europe, to try to maintain their homelands. Much like the East Asians are, which, by the way, have a higher average mean IQ. I'm from the Six Farm. In my personal opinion, that's in their best interest. Now, white in a New World country that was pioneered and founded by the Anglos, and then you had, I think Germans contribute the most, at least in numbers, and their genetic legacy into the United States. Okay, fine. Like, we're a mishmash of identity. Pepe, can you hold on? Please. Wait, did you just interrupt me again, dude? Yeah. I did do it. What the fuck do you have to say then? So I don't give a fuck about you goddamn Pajeets in India. Like, why are you doing this? All right.
So my point to Bill was just, when you hear this shit in the room, so like, you have to point out to these people that there's repercussions for the shit that they're, because it was like the level of incitement almost, and I think you really got to point it out. This was the room yesterday, but I'm sure there's tons of rooms on here. This desire to hurt the Asian community after the Chow case. It's just really disturbing. So anyway, that's my point. Just point out the repercussions on actions.
You found my chick. Stop wasting money on ice.
That's the funny thing is they don't want to be considered like, look, right now, blacks are not abundant. We're not all criminals. We're not all whatever. But then they want to do a fucking boycott on all Asian business. Okay, when you're playing with people that have those kinds of double standards, you don't play their fucking game. Like, these are, I would say that one of the worst problems with the black community in the United States is like this sense of like ethno-narcissism, where they somehow, and you have to understand, because of our original sin, the United States, enslaving them, treating them as second-class citizens, which we did do all that. We've atoned for it. We've acknowledged how wrong it was. Black Americans have, by and large, always been given a free pass to be as racist as they want because of what they went through. So they're the most unreasonable, racist fucking people that you'll ever fucking meet. And it's, at the end of the day, it is white people's fault. Like, we allowed this double standard to occur. But it's, I don't even take these fucking people seriously. I got burned out talking about this shit, several years ago. And I've long come to the realization that any black movement in the United States, despite demographic changes, it's never going to be like, in fact, it's going to hurt. It's not going to help, but in fact, it's going to hurt any of the ADOs, or they call themselves FBAs today. It's going to hurt their movement. They're going to be less sympathetic. They're going to hold them more accountable. It's fucking sad and pathetic, really. I don't know. These Asians are going to do well no matter what they do.
This is true, Pepe. But I don't know. The data on some of these stores, the percentage of clientele and the revenue is based on black consumers. I assume some of them are very dependent on black consumers, given the location of some of these retail stores. But then again, this is such a small percentage of Asian Americans here that operate these stores. It's a big percentage to the Black community because that's what they see and that's what's visible in urban environments. But personally, I don't know any. My Korean dry cleaner, I know that person. Other than that, some Chinese restaurants that I go to, but are they associates, family members, or friends? Yeah, no. And so I think that, Abby, you're right about it. Right up on Title VI. The thing is, I think that could be somewhat tolerated, Abby, but it harkens back to the 90s after Rodney King in L.A. Yes, there was a young Black girl that was shot and killed by a Korean store owner she was also acquitted for that killing, which was tragic. But they rampaged throughout Koreatown in LA. The police didn't come through at all because it was actually, who was Karen Bass wasn't the mayor at the time, but she was some councilwoman. She actually condoned what was happening in the Korean community in Cape Town. And that gave birth to what is now known as the rooftop Koreans, where these guys had their shotguns and rifles on top of the roofs protecting their businesses because the police, the whole city was aflame. But certainly no police were coming to their rescue, so they had to protect and defend their
That's wild. I
area.
never knew about the.
Yeah, but that's been the rooftop.
Did you know that, Pepe? The rooftop Koreans?
Yes, no, the rooftop Koreans has been a meme on the right for years.
Yeah.
So when we think of it's almost like a badge of honor. When we think of if you meet an Asian that's right wing, and I get it, not all Asians are the same, but
real mayors.
You had a group of people that these were highly industrious, hardworking people that were protecting their fucking business, and they literally protected their fucking property with guns. And this is something that I would say that during the riots in 1992, you were not going to see many other communities do this, but the Koreans were pretty stoic, and they were saying, fuck this. This is, nope, I built this business. I'll be damned. And they literally, they had tremendous amount of balls to do this.
Well, keep in mind, Pepe, a lot of these gentlemen, if indeed they were immigrants from Korea to the United States, they all spent 2 years in the Korean military. So they knew how to handle a weapon. And so they were not to be fucked around with. So there's a book, there's documentaries about that time in early, did you say 92, Pepe? After the 91 or 92?
Yeah, 92.
At that time. And it was just about survival. They weren't attacking anybody, but they were going to protect their businesses because nobody else was, the law enforcement was not coming around. You're not going to see that in other communities, not in a Chinatown, there's no Viet towns or anything like that. So that was unique to them. But that's really the largest Korean population in the United States is in LA. There's a 32nd Street in Midtown Manhattan. There's a bit in Atlanta for sure, but they're dispersed around the country in various places. So we'll see if violence. Will they be calling for violence? I haven't seen anything about violence other than boycotting and calling up restaurants.
Well, just tell me if I'm wrong. Yeah, I knew they were calling up ICE. Tell me if I'm wrong on this. Beaver, maybe you know this. Did something happen to Chow's business after the verdict that they attacked the store?
Yeah, I suppose they did.
He had sold it.
He had sold it, Abby. I mean,
they tried to
years in jail. He spent 3 years in jail because the judge did not give him bond as he was awaiting trial. But I believe the family sold the business.
No, but it was they attacked it, Bill.
Yes, they did. Yes, of course they did. Yes, they did.
They tried to set it on fire. They partially burned it, and
yeah, I don't know who owns it now. So maybe a black person owns it. Who knows?
But what I find really weird is that you get this 14-year-old with a gun, which the black community likes to just overgloss this, and I like Jesus Christ. Most black kids do not go around with a gun at 14. He goes in with his backpack. He has his gun. At first, it looked. I mean, if I was just to be judging by what I was looking at, I'd be like, I think he might be stealing something. But he had no money on him. He had no way to pay for anything. But he went into the store. He grabbed a bunch of water bottles. Obviously, I believe it was his son that ended up just like looking, tailing him right behind him. And he puts the water bottles back. Then he starts running. Okay, they misjudged. He didn't actually steal anything. But we have to pretend like this kid was anywhere near the realm of normal. Is this what they want to say? That like black kids are thieving, illegal gun carrying
on the Mercury Mount
at 14 years old? That's fucking insane. That he was somehow he was a good boy. He was normal. I mean, I'm not buying that. Not
whatsoever. When I was 14, Pepe, but I didn't smack anybody with it. But listen, it's tragic what happened there. Obviously, when a young person's life has been taken away, absolutely tragic. It's just that it's such an infrequent occurrence of an Asian person of any ethnicity killing a black person. And so the response is nationwide if they're having this boycott against all Asian.
But what is more common? This is the fucked up part.
I said before, the blacks outnumber Asians 2-1 in the United States.
Yeah, but they kill
the violence
Asian
is 16 to 1.
Wait.
Pepe, it's 16 to 1 the ratio of black on Asian violence here in the United States.
Exactly. This is
it's
where
completely disproportional. And yet they say, "Oh my God, they're hunting us down. They're abusing us. They're oppressing us." Okay, well,
exactly.
If the Asian community acted the same way that they did, yeah, that would be interesting to see.
That's exactly where I was leading to. Is that Asian Americans are far more likely to be victimized.
Yes.
Especially in a violent crime.
Yes.
And I'm talking, what you said, 16 times more likely?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something crazy. And when it comes to whites, it's between 8 to 11 times. It depends on which year.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the lives lost, in particular, between the murders committed by whites versus blacks, interracially, black people overwhelmingly kill white people at a much higher rate. You can look since 1969. This was as of 4 years ago. White people are responsible for approximately 50,000 deaths, but they were responsible for 150,000 deaths against us. But then they will say, "Oh, let's talk about lynching."
Yes.
Okay, motherfucker. You even come up with 4,000 examples of lynching. Most of them were not black people being lynched. And most of the black people that got lynched was for a legitimate fucking crime. But then the weird thing is that they make themselves such perpetual victims that no matter what black people do that is so obviously violent, criminal, whatever, they deserve some kind of fucking pass. And somehow the white person put them in this place. And, for example, today on Twitter, I was seeing shit Carmelo Anthony didn't have a problem until he met white people. Okay, in other words, this white boy did something wrong and he deserves to die, and you're just suppressing poor little Carmelo once you stab him in the chest. It is bullshit. And Mr. Chow, same thing. And that's the problem with the black community, is it doesn't matter which race it is. One of their people are hurt. They need to be found guilty. Now, it doesn't matter. Like, who was that guy that was put to death? Well, Arnold Schwarzenegger was still in office. It was Tookie Williams, one of the leader of the Crips. He went into an Asian. You can read about Tookie. The black community will excuse the worst of their fucking people. Whereas, like, what's different about, like, whites, for example, is that white people do really bad shit. You don't basically see a white saying, like, yeah, no, fuck that fucker. Like, you know, give him life, fucking execute him, whatever. They don't play around. Even when it comes to China. You know, several years ago when the Philippines were cracking down on their drug problems, the Philippines, they ended up arresting a bunch of the Chinese people that were part of the different triad gangs, and of course they had to notify China that, like, oh, we arrested these people. This is what they're facing, life or death. You know, basically the death penalty. And they'd say, like, yeah, that's fine, just go ahead and kill them. China did not give a shit. And I'm kind of the same, like, when it comes to that, I forget who this Dylan Roof, that little retard that came into a black church, and the black people were so nice to him. They said, oh, come pray with us. And then he shot and killed, like, 9 of them. It's just like, fuck that guy. Just fucking shoot him. Like, one of the leaders of the Crips. I'm not going to be on Team White when a white person does some horrible shit like that. But black people, they don't have that safety valve where they're just kind of going to be like, okay, yeah, that was a little bit egregious. They stick up for each other no matter what they do. And they do the shittiest amongst all of humanity throughout the fucking world. And, you know, we could talk about Muslims where I don't want to get into it, but, you know, when it doesn't involve religion, like, these people do fucking horribly. And for whatever reason, they just want to blame everybody else.
You know, you made me think of this story when I forgot about the church situation.
Old.
When the guy came from
Somebody's talking right now, so be quiet.
So when why am I forgetting the name of the area in Texas? It was right outside the airport when a synagogue got attacked in Texas. The Arab guy had bought a gun and came in.
What I find really weird is that you get this 14-year-old with a gun.
Welcomed him in, and they served him like tea, and they were really nice to him. And he was there while they were praying, and then he pulls a gun on the The rest ensued that he held them hostage, and it was like 8 hours, 9 hours. Until they finally...
Did he kill any of them? I remember the FBI shot him.
No, the FBI shot him. They were trained. They were trained. The rabbi, the president of the temple, I forget who else was in there, knew exactly what to do. So they used their training, which involved some of it was how they worked with their cell phone. So everything was, you know, they had called into 911 when they realized what was happening. And so police and FBI were already outside the facility for quite some time, but they had plated the glass on their doors and their windows. So, you know, it's interesting just to see where the gunshots were and the penetration of the shots because of plating. They ultimately, the rabbi, when the guy went to take a drink of water, he put his gun down, and they were trained to wait for those moments. The rabbi took the chair, which he was also trained to use whatever he could as a weapon, threw the chair at the guy, and the guy, you know, got hit by the chair, they all ran out the side door and were saved. And then law enforcement came in and killed him. But you made me think of that. Like they welcomed him in and gave him drinks. Similar story.
Yeah, that was a
But
little bit egregious.
they all survived.
Yeah, I couldn't picture going into like a church or they stick up for each other no matter what they do. And if I went into a mosque, they do the shittiest amongst the Muslims I've known in my personal life. We can talk about Muslims, but like I could not imagine going into a place where they openly embrace me and they're hospitable and then go ahead and fucking kill these people. It's for whatever reason to me it's unconscionable. But
there's a special place
you made me
in
think of the story when you,
into a house
I forgot about
of any religion and
the
cause
church situation.
When the
guy that drove into the synagogue in Michigan last month, he 2 months ago maybe, he came within 3 feet of 120 preschoolers. 3 feet of them.
right outside the airport.
Had he
When
penetrated into the area where they were, he would have been the worst, incident on U.S. soil for children, like probably in our history. It was just unbelievable how close he came. But that was also the people were trained, the staff was trained, the security guard, everyone knew what to do.
Look at that guy a little bit different though. Like, didn't he was a Hezbollah guy who lost family to Hezbollah.
But he was Hezbollah. He was also Hezbollah.
Yeah, no. I get that, but he lost family that was Hezbollah, and I'm trying to be as impartial as I can. Like, look, if those kids were killed, I could not imagine the heartbreak. It just, that would be so fucking horrible.
No justification for it, and they found
No,
a car.
No. I'm not saying.
You know when he brought in explosives? How much explosives they found?
Yeah, I'm not making a justification for it whatsoever. But
yes, you are.
Obviously, he had a grievance with Israel, and he wanted to take it out on what I'm guessing is probably going to be a largely liberal group of Jews who, or at least their kids that were in daycare. Absolutely horrible. I would never stand by it.
3 to 5 year olds, 120. 3 to 5 year olds.
Yeah, it'd be horrible.
I'm 3 blocks from Beacon Street in Brookline. I can't pronounce Ohabe Temple. It's the largest synagogue in Brookline, and every Shabbat, Friday afternoon, there's military. There's police out on the sidewalk there, and I'm not aware of any incidents that have happened. But as you know, in Brookline, we've got about 24 synagogues. But the largest one, there's always security outside.
I know there's incidents that have happened.
And I know there have been. I've seen, certain individuals, but I'm not aware of any significant violence or murders.
There's bomb scares that have come in.
I'm sure there are.
In Newton Center in Brookline.
Absolutely.
There definitely have.
Newton Center, I see. Well, Israel triumphed. But so it's always sad to see.
They look like, do they have, they've gone, in front of mine, they look like SWAT members.
The police.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Sad. Very sad. And how do you go into a house of worship walking by security?
Kids today don't know any other way. They've never gone to temple without it.
It's better to have them.
For sure, Pepe.
I understand what you're saying. Yeah, but obviously, just from the Jews I've talked to on this app, it sounds like they train. They teach each other about firearm safety and carrying firearms and using them in a synagogue. So, I'm pretty sure a lot of these people they have a lot of guns.
People are
synagogues. But they're probably not a soft target. And I think about it. Nobody really targets the Catholics that I can think of. He was a Hezbollah guy. You might get a jihadist that was doing
he was Hezbollah. He was also Hezbollah.
No. I get that. But I don't know that Hezbollah. I haven't been to church in forever, so I have no idea.
Don't say that out loud.
No, I know.
Kids were
I'm very
killed.
open about it. I'm just kidding.
I could not imagine.
But I know the Pope. The guy who shot the Pope.
That would be so fucking.
No justification for it, and they found.
No. Let's
You know when you go on an explosives, how much explosives they found.
Yeah, I'm not making a justification for it whatsoever.
I vaguely remember.
Yes, you are.
John Paul. But when is somebody gone into a Catholic church? Now I understand
Israel,
there's
he wanted
like
to take it out on
the kids
but I'm guessing
that
it's probably
went
to
to
a largely
school.
liberal.
Like I think it was their first day of school. They were in the church, and you ended up like doing a mass shooting.
I would never stand by it.
But other than that, I feel like the Catholic Church doesn't really.
128.
They tend not to be a target. We're not like the Jews.
We just
I'm 3 blocks.
I just learned this. So the system we have with plate readers, that we have at most of our synagogues and at our schools, the Archdiocese just installed them. I just learned this 2 days ago here. I thought this was happening because I knew the person involved with it, and these plate readers read right into our Metropolitan Police Department. But now the Archdiocese put it in some of the bigger Catholic schools. I don't know if they have them in the churches as well, but they're installing them. So they're actually, they're fearful, and the same money that we can access federally, they access as well to protect the houses of worship. And that's what that sacred act that's in Congress right now. It stands. It's